Hello. Welcome back to Yokai Watch Puni. I know it's been forever since I played Puni, but I'm back and I'm back as hard as ever. So, Yokai Watch Puni. There's been some forgotten yokai, and I've always had this idea, how well how well do these forgotten old yokai fare up today? Well, my friends, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a look at some old yokai I've managed to acquire and see whether they're capable of matching up in the modern landscape today, or they're worth being left in the past as nothing more as a cool relic. As you can see, I have four very interesting yokai. Rainy QB, Lubang Shogunyan, Rapper KJ, and Gabby, or Princess Speech. Now keep in mind, all four of these yokai have been unobtainable for months. I only managed to get lucky in acquiring them through certain events. But if you have them, then go ahead, try them out. But before we can start, we need to get all their ultimates ready. So, in the meantime, excuse me while Busy start readying up all their ultimates. And I think we'll go one by one. And yes, I still have my faithful ZZZ rank Enma. Now, some of these yokai are either okay or they're pieces of feces. If that's the case, then that's kind of sad. But I think it's respectable to start off with Rainy QB. Now, what makes Rainy QB unique? Well, let's take a look at this ultimate. Rainy QB's ultimate is interesting. As you can see, Rainy QB's ultimate is different than a normal ball popper. I like to think Rainy QB is a mix between a ball popper, but a unique version of a ball popper, where it instead increments on how many bonus balls are on the field. If there's lots of bonus balls, Rainy QB is going to equate more damage depending on how many bonus balls are active. If no bonus balls are active, which is very apparent when we get her ultimate up again. But let's take a look at Lubang Shogunyan. Now, Lubang Shogunyan is interesting. He's a mix between a slash tracer, but also a mix between a popper in some ways. Lubang Shogunyan is interesting. Lubang Shogunyan is an interesting fella. He's a mix between a slash tracer, which there are multiple slash tracers, but he's also a mix of yokai whose ultimates are determined on popping random yokai, but also kind of like a self-hider, only allowing you to attack their yokai. But by popping Lubang Shogunyan Puni during his ultimate, he's able to sort of slash trace the board, doing big damage. Now, he's originally from the Yokai Watch Sangoshi event, more or less the second event of Yokai Watch Sangoshi. When he was introduced, he had a big damage bonus to Chiandan Komashira, and his damage bonus was great, but nowadays he's kind of forgotten. It was during the limit break. I think it was Sangoshi limit break with rampaging Nonokan and Sonokan that was able to get him. I think it's been a while since that event. It's been a while since I had Lubang Shogunyan in my team. So anyone who can direct me that I'm correct. If not, then I'm a piece of feces. But next up is KJ. Rapper KJ is interesting. As you can see, KJ functions differently. KJ is sort of a single attacker, but KJ functions differently than a single attacker. Specifically, you link two or more punies together, and depending on how many punies you link, KJ will deal respectable high number of damage depending on how many punies were linked during a short amount of time. And I think that leveling up his ultimate increases the time as well as the damage. I also think the dude has a skill, but I'm not sure what the skill is. And finally, we have Gabby, Princess Speech. Princess Speech is interesting in some ways, and I'm linking her, well, Princess Speech is interesting. When activating Princess Speech's ultimate, it's unique, unlike some other yokai, unlike other American legend yokai. Princess Speech is interesting. When linking punies when her ultimate is active, she'll do damage depending on where like the punies are linked or not. But but depending on how many punies were linked, yeah, she'll do some damage. And I think the damage is increased more depending on how many punies you've linked. Sort of like KJ, but now, moment of truth, what happens if Rainy QB has no bonus balls? Well, this is what happens. So Rainy QB, instead of taking, if Rainy QB has no bonus balls, she'll essentially function like a single attacker, which fine enough, I guess. And all four of these yokai are interesting in their own ways, but I also like to say that all of their ultimates are just mixes of other ultimates. So they're sort of just existing yokai ultimates mashed together. But when you get them to like level 50, it's where they start to do respectable damage. Now, whether they're viable in the modern landscape is questionable to say the least. But that's to be expected when these yokai are literally forgotten. So, only natural that they're just kind of left in the past. And speaking of left in the past, how about Azure Dragon Super Awoken? This dude, honestly, I've never even bothered to level him up. And for the sake of it, why don't we put some others in here? How about Inuyasha Awoken? Yeah, this dude. And the long forgotten but still somewhat favorable Morigami Rex. Now, these other four are quite more simple than the first four we had, because honestly, while these guys are also forgotten, I think that Azure Dragon Awoken probably has interesting stuff, and I think that Rainy QB can possibly work in the modern landscape, but I think that Lubang Shogunyan works best in the modern landscape in my opinion, mostly for the fact that dude can literally become a slash tracer, which, keep in mind, slash tracers are mostly in like a respectable category of SS rank, but it wasn't until more recently where we got the first ZZZ rank tracer, which honestly was a massive achievement for Puni, because let's face it, tracers were only locked into like what category? Now I know you're gonna say something. Oh, but what about Extreme Blizzaria? She's a tracer. No, she's a side tracer, and that doesn't count. So I'm sorry. If you think that your mother counts, then I'm sorry. That also doesn't work. So now we have all of our yokai ultimates powered up. So let's see what they can do. Inuyasha Awoken. He more functions like Orkanos in some ways, but not really. I mean, sure, he does the same thing, but given he's SS rank, he does more damage than Orkanos can do, so that's fun. Next we have this guy, and he's basically a giant center popper, which is about as much as I expect. I mean, wielding that giant hammer really needs to put some rest on something. But, on the contrary, Morigami Rex. Morigami Rex is interesting. He's a slash tracer. And he's an okay slash tracer for being a tough SS rank. The tough tribe really does need soup power. Like, sure, it's got attack boosters, but come on. Azure Dragon Super Awoken is another center popper. more or less one that attacks downwards in the middle. So he's fine. And let's end it off with, Enma. Because Enma knows how to reign in the home. And there you go. Done. Done. And that's about as much free time as I have. So yeah, these four are more simple, but they are forgotten. Somewhat. And hey, look, all four of them leveled up to level 2. Neat in ways. I kind of want to make, and you know what I want to do? I kind of want to make this like a little serious where I go over forgotten yokai, and I'll probably even cover ones from other events outside of ones I'm showing here. So yeah, let's take a look at what other yokai that I have that are pretty fair weakened. So as you get him, this guy, yeah. And who's up last to be part of the gang? I wonder. Let's switch out that. That's great. Great Priest Katai, because if my addiction says anything, is that any badass rocking a robe looking like a priest will probably tell you that they've been around the dirt blocks more times than me finding trash on the alleyway and dunking in the dumpster. So let's get these next four. These are the servants to Enma. The dog and cat are servants to Enma in the main Yokai Watch games in Busters and Yokai Watch Free. So, yeah, that's neat. And interesting thing, they both have a skill where you can link the two together and sort of make one mash between the two, which is interesting. So, we already have two yokai that share a unique ability, and I'm pretty sure that skill can be leveled up to be even more good, but I don't really have the time to level that up, mostly because I don't even have enough soul secrets to pay for it, and also because my rental is broke. Please help me, I'm poor. But yeah, we also have Hovering on Awoken. Coming from a scramble battle, this dude seems like an interesting choice to put on here. But remember, he's from an old scramble battle, and scramble battles are no longer a thing in modern day puni, which is sad because scramble battles were honestly kind of fun. Let's take a look at them. So, we have this guy. He mostly acts as an attack booster, which is fine enough. And the cat? He's a horizontal popper that attacks downwards. Hovering on Awoken. Being an SS Brave rank, he functions like a single attacker. And finally, we have Great Priest Katai. What he does is that he kind of does that. I think he's a tracer, but given that I'm not even able to move the gem, I have no idea what he actually does. Though, he has a Sangoshi version. And I got a burger from Salamander. Why? I don't know. So we covered 12 forgotten yokai here, which is fine enough, given some diversity. And keep in mind, all these guys come from different events, so yeah. You'll probably want to check in. I'll probably make these as short videos because they're not really that in depth. It's mostly just going over yokai that have kind of been forgotten in the modern stages, and more or less just to see if they have some viability to be compatible. And I have some pretty interesting choices I can throw in, mostly because some of these guys and girls, I've never leveled them up anywhere beyond level 1. And the ones I have, they wouldn't be, as I would put it, level 50. And if you're wondering, yes, this is Dragon Slayer Smogmella. I got her recently because there was a free Dragon Slayer's coin in the login, and I don't care because anything that tells you luck is on your side most of the time. Not really. If I was Whisper right now, I'd probably be doing the same thing he'd be doing, just begging Lady Luck to give me strength, and if not, I'm gonna burn a church down. Actually, no, don't do that. You're probably gonna get arrested by the police faster than them arresting a criminal. So, yeah, that's fun. Anyways, oh yeah, I also completed daily missions. 101. 50,000 damage. I didn't even do damn near anything. Man.